Welcome to Cooking with Courtney. Today we're going to be making Philly cheesesteaks. The ingredients are extra virgin olive oil, a red and green bell pepper, an onion, garlic cloves, salt and pepper, soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce, my steak that's already thinly sliced, both mozzarella and provolone cheese, the hoagie bread, and we're also going to have a side of fries.
So I'm going to start by cutting my red bell pepper. I've already cut off the top and the bottom. I've taken out the seeds and most of the rib, and I'm just going to be cutting the same direction as the rib, which will help give me more uniform style cuts. And I'll be repeating the same process with the green bell pepper. I'm actually going to step away to get my extra virgin olive oil and go ahead and put it in my pan and turn the pan on a medium-high heat so it can start getting hot and ready for my red and green bell pepper and my onions to go in. The same process, I take out the seeds, take out too much of the rib there, and then once again I'll be going the same direction as the rib to keep those cuts close enough to the same size. If I were to go horizontal, then I'll have some curly pieces of bell pepper, which wouldn't make it look too nice, but essentially it all tastes the same. There's my red and green bell pepper, and now I'm about to start on my onion. The process here would be cutting off the end, not the part where the root is, because if you do that it's going to fall apart. And then I cut down the middle, or as close as the middle as I can get, and go ahead and peel off the rest of that skin. Once I get this extra skin off, and just about like that first layer, whichever waxy layer, I like to get that off. And I go into the onion maybe 3 ways up horizontally. That's 1. That's 2. Okay, so 2 ways. And I just coat down the onion vertically, and then I will turn it back and you'll see my dices come out. And I will put the onion into its own bowl. There's both the onions and the bell pepper. So I've got my onion and bell pepper going in the back on a medium-high heat. Next thing is to get my garlic. The way that we're going to do the garlic is a mince, so that means a very, very fine chop. So I'm going to sit here and do this for quite a second. But I've got 3 garlic cloves going right there, then they will go into the pot, or pan, excuse me. I like to have my garlic last so it doesn't burn. Just giving that pan a little shaky. You really just want the vegetables to get nice, soft, and tender. but then again, it's to your liking. So if you like your vegetables with a little crunch, that's cool too. But I like mine to be more tender than crunchy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my garlic. And now I'm doing my steak. The steak that I have is actually the round. It was said that flank steak is the best for Philly cheesesteak, but that's all the store had. That was within my budget. So this is a fairly cheap and easy dish for any college student. It's one pan. It's not many ingredients. It only took 35 to about 40 minutes. And depending on how much you make, it can last you. But here I'm just dicing up the meat. So once it goes into the pan, I'll be able to break it down a little more with that wooden spoon. And you would like to have the meat not frozen, but firm. So you're able to make clean cuts. And then you just go ahead and add it in. I turned my heat up a little bit. And going in, just give it a little stir around. And I'm just gonna let it sit there. Here I have my my sauce for this Philly cheesesteaks. I added the soy sauce, and now I'm adding the Worcestershire sauce. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to add salt and pepper to the pan or to the bowl, so I did a little bit of both. And looking at the sauce and how much meat and everything you have in the pan, the ratios can vary. So you can eyeball or you can measure out. I did 2 tablespoons of both soy and Worcestershire sauce, and I just eyeballed my salt and pepper. And I actually ended up going back and making some more sauce because that's not enough, but it's already starting to look good. Okay, now I'm going in with my potatoes. I really enjoy homemade potatoes, though I don't make them very often. But you cut off the ends, you square it up, and then you start making your planks. I like to keep the skin on my potatoes. It's just a personal preference. Some people don't, some people do. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So the reason I have that bowl of water is so my potatoes don't oxidize. Oxidizing is when oxygen gets to your potatoes and it will turn them brown in an ugly, funky color. You just kind of want to keep them fresh looking. So that's what the bowl of water is for. I'm going to set out a potato to the side, and later on you'll be able to see what an oxidized potato looks like. I'm about to go ahead and put my potatoes into the grease, which I've got going on a medium-high heat. I use vegetable oil. It was a little high. I got kind of scared. You can see I've got my plate with the paper towel and the tongs off to the side. That plate's going to be used when the fries are done to drain out some of that oil. I'm going to go in with my cheese. And what we're going to do is layer the cheese around the pan. Once again, this is another easy one pan dish. That's the mozzarella. And I'm just going to alternate with my provolone. Once the whole pan is covered, I'm going to take the lid off to the side, turn the heat on low, and wait for that cheese to get all steamy. There you go. You can see how the cheese has melted into the meat. I've got my hoagie buns on a sheet pan. I'm just going to fill my bread, and then we're going to pop it in the oven for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, just until the outside of the bread is nice and toasty. Look at the cheese. Oh, it's so good. I know I made this when I'm sitting here looking at it. I'm like, whoa, I did a good job. Into the oven. Now out of the oven. You're going to see me press the buns and I'm going to wake, it actually got crispy. Look at those fries, nice and golden brown. They're just ready to come out of the oil. And you want to make sure to salt your fries as soon as they come out of the grease, because that's when they're the hottest, which means the salt will stick to your fries. Here I'm just going to plate up. I've got my Philly cheesesteak and a bed of fries. I saw many different variations of Philly cheesesteaks. Some had yellow cheese, some had white cheese. I prefer white cheese. As you can see, this is my roommate and I included her to get some feedback. Enjoy watching this. We look kind of crazy.
Thank you for watching Cooking with Courtney. Until next time.